I was about to say that this is a bit of a personal story today, but I guess all of my stories are kind of personal. But this one hits really close to home. I'm going to start by saying this. The shin bone connects to the knee bone, and the knee bone connects to the thigh bone. Do you remember that song? Like from when you were a little kid? Because I remember it. In kindergarten, they teach us that our whole body is connected. But when we get sick, all of a sudden, we need 17 different doctors, each one looking at a different specific part. Back pains, skin flares, and stomach issues are seen as completely different health issues, even in the same person. Somehow, this very simple and true detail of how our system works is completely ignored when we need to understand it and to really see it the most. Doctors are trained to have specialties, right? That means your skin doctor only sees and treats rashes. Your neurologist only sees and treats matters of the brain. This isn't negligence. It's training. And that's exactly how the medical system has been designed. Each specialist trained to see just a teeny tiny little part of us, fragmenting the system so we're no longer seen as a whole. We're not one person anymore. And if you dare mention functional medicine, where doctors take a holistic approach, and they deal with the complete individual, most doctors aren't prepared for such conversations, right? They're not going there with you. They don't even know how to go there with you. And that's a huge problem that I want to unpack today. Right? I'm curious, Wellness Warrior, have you experienced what I'm talking about? Where you're kind of sent to see three or maybe even more specialists who don't even seem to ever try to talk to each other, and you feel like you're getting the runaround in our healthcare system? I would like to know that. Put it in the chat, because I can tell you that that happened to me more times than I would even like to admit. How many times that I was sent hither, thither, and yon, trying to solve. So first of all, sent to the specialist, and the specialist, especially when it came to my joint pains, did all this thing at the specialist for them to try and say, no, you need sports medicine. And for over 2 decades, there were so many things that showed up wrong with me. I'm going to give you the short list, because I think if I tried to go through every single thing that happened, I'd be here for hours and we wouldn't be able to have a chat afterwards. So I'm going to start with joint pain, because that was the first one that stands out. And I know the date for it. I was 23 years old when I actually went to the doctor about the pain in my knees. And I mean, it was in my knees at that time. Got worse over the course of years. Now, I didn't have a specific injury that I could point at, right? I didn't have a sports injury, but the consensus seemed to be that I had it was related to sports. And they decided to blame the sports I did in high school. Now, honestly, first of all, I wish that I was the big athlete in high school. I wish that I was one of those kids that was on the track team and the basketball team, and that wasn't my story. At all. That was never my story. I did gym class. That's it. But even at the time that I was getting this work done, I was 23 years old. I was so far away from being I didn't have a sport at that time that I was doing. I was working. Was I working yet? No, I was still in school. But I mean, okay, so maybe I did do gym class because I still had, no, I was in uni. So yeah, I wasn't doing gym class anymore. I honestly don't know how they blamed my joint pain on my high school gym classes, and maybe the gym classes I did in CEGEP, is what we do before university. But they did. And they ended up sending me to the specialist, who sent me to the sports medicine consult. Got some exercises to do. The exercises did help me to feel better, but the joint pain just kept spreading. My shoulder pain, my back pain, like it just kept spreading. I can honestly remember when the rashes came on because it was when I was working. So I don't know when they actually came on. But what I can tell you is that it was after my knee problem. So I'm going to guesstimate that this is around 30 years old because I know I was working. And the rashes were disturbing my workday because if you're itchy, you can't just be scratching all the time when you're working with clients. Like that's just it just no, you can't do that. So yeah, I was uncomfortable and itchy and it was not a fun day. I tried every single cream and lotion and ointment that the dermatologist gave me, and I used them for years without any success. And then eventually what I realized was that keeping the area dry was the thing that worked the best. So I started to like put powder and just trying to keep myself as dry as possible, but it didn't actually heal my skin, right? It just gave me the relief from the itchiness. The rashes were still there. I thought it was normal to lay in bed not sleeping when I was a little kid. Like I would be sent to bed as a kid and just be laying there. And when I say kid, I'm talking like 10 plus. Just be laying there awake, like not sleeping. I only labeled my insomnia in adulthood. And eventually, obviously, it got worse. And I would have like 2, 3 nights in a row of just not sleeping. And then, of course, I would crash and sleep for a few nights in a row. And then it would start over again, 2, 3 nights. So when I finally went to see a sleep specialist, and that, I mean, now we're talking much further in my life because it was the spouse that I was actually living with at the time that said to me, yeah, you snore, and when you snore, sometimes you're like seem like you're not breathing, and it's scaring me. And then when I found out, oh my goodness, I have sleep apnea. And now I will say, on top of not being able to sleep sometimes, and then like crashing, and like when I do sleep, I'm not getting the restful sleep. I will say that that machine actually helped me to sleep more often. So I was actually sleeping more days than I was not sleeping. Still had insomnia sometimes, but it was much further apart. So that was great, and I was kind of happy with that solution, but it wasn't the full solution because I still had the insomnia. And of course, now I had a diagnosis of sleep apnea that I was just going to manage forever with a machine. I had tinnitus. That's the ringing in the ears for anybody who doesn't know what that is. And it was something else that I had had for as long as I can remember. Like I remember being a kid and hearing that ringing, and I remember asking, like when it was really loud out, I was like, "How are you guys even having a conversation with that noise?" And people would be like, "What noise?" And that, like yeah. So again, no clear explanation or suggestion on how to stop it, but I did see specialists, and I guess out of this one, I just get the benefit of having gotten to meet an ENT doctor. But like, yeah. Um, Now, if you would have asked me 10 years ago, I probably would have said that I was the calmest person ever. Like, I'm so even emotionally. And now today, I'm even calmer, even more patient. So somehow I was living mood disturbance. And I mean, like, so even though I was super calm, I'm even calmer. And the last one I'm going to throw out for your for your consideration, I guess, because I didn't even know that this was a complete field of study. Like people would specialize in this. My jaw used to click. Like every time I chewed food, I could hear it in my ears, like click, 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 click. It was so annoying. And in the morning, when I would get up, it would be stuck. Like I would wake up in the morning and not be able to open my mouth properly and not be able to like talk properly. I could still talk, but it was like it was stuck. And like eventually it would just kind of like release. Now I talked to my dentist about it, and they did like talk to me a bit, but then their suggestion was you need to go see a TMG specialist. So TMG specialist, that's 6 conditions and 6 different specialists. Well, I guess 7 if you count the dentist, right? Each conversation happening in a bubble. None of my specialists ever asked if I had any other health problems. They never asked to consult with my other treating professionals. Bubble, right? They all of them gave me prescriptions and or exercises that I used as directed. And I did get a bit of relief, but no answers, right? The issue that I went through the door with was still there. And for the rash doctor actually told me, yeah, you are going to have to learn to live with it. That was the answer that I got from the rash doctor, that I was going to learn to live with being uncomfortable all of the time. Like all the time. Like I didn't get really all the time uncomfortable and itchy. That's what she was saying. You're just going to have to learn to get used to it. And okay. So the focus seemed to be more on helping me to cope than helping me to solve the problems. And you can only imagine how frustrated I was, because every time I went to a specialist, at least at the beginning anyways, when I went to specialists, my thought was they're going to tell me how to solve the problem, to go back to living life normally, like I was living it before. And I'm going to pause here, Wellness Warrior, and say that I understand that they were doing the best with the training that they received. I'm not particularly mad at the doctors. Like, these specialists were competent in the field that they were specializing in. Like, they had training for that. The problem with that is there's no way for them to see any connection between what they studied and the rest of the body. They're acting like my arm, or like my skin, for example, is different than the rest of me, that my joints are different than the rest of me. Modern medicine is built around acute problems. And well, first of all, we're definitely feeling the repercussions of this system being built on acute problems. Here in Canada, we can't get an appointment with a doctor unless we're in some kind of health emergency, right? No more dropping in at the clinic because you don't feel like you're feeling sick or whatever. Like, no, you if you don't have something that they can prescribe something for, yeah. So I understand that the system is set up to save lives, and they are good at that. So that's what I will say. That's the second part of that statement. They're good at that. But the problem that I was living, and what a lot of us are living, and the question that I'm asking is, what about conditions that are uncomfortable and block the enjoyment of life, right? You're not just at the door to leaving, but what about like something is just making walking. I couldn't walk, Wellness Warrior. My joints hurt that much that I was limping along. It's crazy to me to even think about the fact that 23 years old, I was doing some limping. And by 46 years old, the limp was so bad that walking a distance that should have taken me 3 minutes could take 10. That's moments of my life that I'm losing because I don't feel good. But that's not enough. Well, first of all, not enough for a drop-in clinic appointment. But second of all, no solutions being offered. what are they doing about chronic conditions? Because apparently that's what I had. Chronic conditions actually seem to touch more than one part of our body, right? They even touch our minds, because I can tell you very clearly that I was not a happy person when I'm at work and I'm scratchy and itchy and I can't do anything about it because there's a client in front of me, or I'm sharing an office with a colleague, right? Because I didn't have my own office when I back in that story. And so I can't just sit there scratching. I'm going to look like a crazy person, right? How many runs to the bathroom can I make? Do you understand? Like, the mental frustration and stress that I was living, because this wasn't fun. Not at all. And yet, so how do we solve these issues with 6 doctors who aren't actually talking to each other, right? And this is where we start to see the system break down right in front of our eyes. Because if they're not talking to each other, then they're not going to be able to figure out what's actually wrong with us. Our GP, the one person that we tell everything to, only has 7 minutes with us, right? That's the latest stats, 7 minutes. 7 minutes to hear the list of complaints, decide which medications or specialists, and then either write a prescription or a referral, right? If it's above what he's allowed to write a prescription for. The specialists that we see, they might have more time with us, right? They might be able to sit and talk to us and try to, they're going to gather more data to try to diagnose like what they're going to do next. But they're only trained to see that one part of our body, and to like that one condition or situation that they're going to look at, they're going to focus on, right? And if we bring up anything else, they're going to refer us back to our GP to get a referral to something else. They're amazing at one thing. But what about the other issues that stem from my chronic condition? So, unfortunately, no one doctor has the time or the mandate, right? They don't have to like both at the same time to make the bigger like request, to ask a bigger question. None of them have the ability to ask that bigger question of like, how are all these things connected? No time or no mandate. So what's kind of interesting is that our GP, the first person that we see that we told everything to, that's giving us all of these different referrals, has all the information, right? Because they knew exactly who to send us to. They knew like, okay, that's related to this realm. You need to see this kind of doctor. So some of the doctors do understand the whole body, right? Because the same thing goes with functional medicine doctors. They're the ones that take the approach of like that holistic body scenario, right? They don't have a specialty lens. They're not looking for one particular part of you. They're looking at the system as a whole. They sit with you and they listen to all of your symptoms. They're going to walk with you through it. They're even going to want to know timelines, and they're going to want to know like severities. They take the time to talk it through. They want the full picture. But that's the difference. After you've laid out all of the details of your rashes, your joint pain, your tinnitus, insomnia, moodiness, like everything that's going on with you, the functional medicine doctor doesn't reach for that referral pad and send you to somebody else. They're going to start now looking for patterns. And why are they looking for patterns? because they're trying to figure out what the root of the problem is. They're trying to understand, why is your body behaving the way that it's behaving, which is producing all of these symptoms that are causing, well, first of all, causing you discomfort. But second of all, obviously a sign that your body is struggling with something. Your body is struggling, not your elbow is struggling. And I want to just pause there for a second. That's the difference between, I didn't have a sports injury, I didn't fall down, I didn't get hit, I didn't ingest some toxin. This is not a one-off something that happened to me. Slowly, over time, my body was sending out signals over the course of 46 years to tell me something's wrong here. And functional. So a doctor that looks at your whole totality of who you are can possibly find that. And it turned out that for me, there was one underlying problem that actually did connect all the conditions together. It all came together. And that is when I learned what I didn't understand, what I didn't know. That all of my seemingly different medical conditions, because when the doctor told me I had to go see this specialist and this specialist and this specialist, I actually believed that these are all different different problems, because, well, they're the specialists, they're the professionals, they're telling me that these are different, so I believed them. But all my seemingly different medical conditions related back to one chronic inflammation problem. I had chronic inflammation. And that inflammation problem in my skin produced lesions. In my joints, produced pain. I was inflamed everywhere. Which actually made a lot of sense, because, as I just said, my issues had been brewing for years. So, of course, if inside of a system there's a problem, of course it's going to spread. It's inside the system, right? And guess what? There was more to the story, because now the question was, well, why am I inflamed? Right? What I know today, what I actually know today, is that the most common underlying reason for chronic inflammation is insulin resistance, or hyperinsulinemia is another way that they call that. And that's basically when your insulin stops working properly in your body. It's like it's not doing, yeah. So that information is key for us to get our life back, right? Knowing what is wrong with you is necessary if you're going to be able to make any changes that actually leads to something. So again, creams and pills, and we're not actually solving my inflammation problem, right? They were soothing it, because we weren't actually solving what was causing my inflammation problem, because that was insulin resistance, and none of the creams or pills were going to solve my insulin resistance. So rather than chasing relief in the pharma system, now I knew that I had this one particular condition called hyperinsulinemia or insulin resistance. And for the first time, I had a real target, like a real something. How do we solve it? And honestly, Wellness Warrior, this is the part that's kind of like whether you look at it from the how do you solve inflammation or how do you solve insulin resistance, whichever one they would, the answer is very similar. So when I addressed the insulin resistance by lowering my carb intake, right, really low. I went down to 20 grams of carbs. Or I tried to anyways. and removing seed oils. That was the other thing I did. Two things that I learned cause insulin resistance, but also cause inflammation. Like, so these two things, they're so connected. Everything on my list started to resolve. Everything. One after the other. Without doing anything else. All I changed, I removed seed oils from my diet, and I dramatically lowered carbohydrate intake. Now, I made a video about that. It's actually going to be linked in the description below. So I'm not going to go through it here. But like, if you want to, yeah, just check out that video after this. My joint pain, skin rashes, tinnitus, sleep issues, mood, and the jaw that used to get stuck in the morning, all gone. All gone. No more chasing symptoms. No more separate doctor's appointments and like running all over town. No more prescriptions that manage pain and discomfort without ever fixing anything, right? Removing the sugar and the seed oils was the answer. Like, it solved it. I'm like, it's crazy to think 23 years of suffering solved in months and years. Well, we'll say like, but the first few things were solved in months. Like the major thing, the joint pain, 3 months. 3 months. 23 years of suffering solved in 3 months. And that's what I want for you, Wellness Warrior. I don't want you to get another prescription that allows you to keep overeating carbohydrates that are causing problems in your body. I don't want you to get another referral to meet with another doctor who's going to give you exercises or prescriptions. I don't want you to have another conversation about how you need to learn to live with your discomfort like I had. I want all of that gone. I want you to know that there is a root cause. Our bodies don't just stop working without there being a reason. There is a root cause, especially when you're talking about under the age of 70. Like, I was 23 when this started, nowhere near any kind of idea of being old. When you have a real target, then you can actually do something to solve the issue that's happening with you. Yeah. If this is the first time that you're hearing about insulin resistance and what it can actually do to the body, I want you to watch Thursday's video. I've also linked that down in the description, because in that video I actually talk you through insulin resistance, but also like what it does and how you can, or what I did anyways, to address it. Now, if you're ready to start today, I'm down in the description. I also have my free course. So you can click on that and get started, like get your life back. So let's get into your questions, Wellness Warrior. I am so happy to see everyone here. So, hello, Sing It. What do we have here? It looks to me like 2, 4, 6. Hey, great job. Hubby has dropped off, but this is such a part of my day that I climb out of bed to get it in, because I didn't do it before the day. Because I didn't do it before the day was done, habit formed. Okay, you know what? I will say that pretty much. Okay, so I'm glad we're starting here, because I've mentioned before that I was never an exercise person. My daughter is an exercise person, but I was never an exercise person, like working out in the gym kind of story exercise. And there have been advancements. So I've told you guys recently that I've started working out, and in the morning I get up and the first thing I do is my workout in my home gym. And this past weekend, Pat and I went and grabbed a few more weights, because I was getting to the end of what I'm able to do at home. So I grabbed a few more weights. However, this is new. I've actually added working a gym workout. So going with my daughter to the gym, and she's helping me to work on my back to get strength in my back. So that is new for me, and I'm super proud of myself because I never thought that that would be something that I would actually do. Again, not a gym person. And yesterday we actually did some deadlifts, and I will say doing them at the gym with gym equipment and like the Olympic bar, that Olympic bar is heavier than my bar at home. So putting the same amount of weights, but using the Olympic bar. So cool. So yes, I agree with you. And I'm happy to say that my habit seems to be being formed even better because that's not a first thing in the morning workout if I go with my daughter. That's more in the evening or night, I should say. So yeah, I'm excited for continuing. Hello, Yo-Yo Team 1. How you doing? First, okay. I saw my doctor last week. I try to only see her annually. 2 years in a row now, she's looking at the wrong chart or asking about things in March last year. Oof. So, I mean, I'm not really sure what's happening there. Maybe overworked, maybe not had enough time to get themselves up to date and like look at the information before coming to talk to you. And I mean, being in a profession where I need to talk to my clients, although I do see them more frequently than once a year, but I still look over whatever we talked about before they get to me because obviously I want to be the most efficient I can with my time and their time. So yeah, I could see where that would be frustrating. Hello, Paulette Stans. I feel like you used to be in here before. Hi, how you doing? Nice to see you back. I feel like I've seen your name before. Um, and don't get me started about how MRIs gave me a need for a neurologist, but she is pushing for me to see a cardiologist when my ER charts declared that my heart is fine. Cattle paying for copays. Okay, so okay, neurologist pushing for cardiologist. That that's yeah, those, and that's again very far apart. So what is going on there? Why are we not being sent to the right kind of professional, first of all? But second of all, why are they not all talking to each other? I mean, honestly, I just, it frustrates me no end how much time I wasted where if they would have made the inflammation link, well, even if they made the inflammation link, very likely they would have given me a medication for inflammation. So how many people do I currently know that are on corticosteroids for their eczema? And mine apparently was an eczema, so it was not that kind of rash. I can't remember what it was actually called, but I know it was an eczema because a lot of people in my family have eczema, and that's not what I got diagnosed with. But then, how many people do I know that got knee injections for steroids for their joint pain? So yeah, like I don't even know if my doctor would have been able to put the link together because of the way the doctors are trained and what they're aiming at. They're aiming at what medication is giving you the like what medication will give you relief more than they're looking at like how to solve the problem at like down to the nitty-gritty of solving the actual problem and giving you a solution answer. And TMJ, I didn't actually say the word because I can't, like, it's a huge word, but it's your jaw. It's the doctor that deals with your jaw. Like they have, just for that, they have a specialty, which I find kind of crazy. Again, every little part of us, we're being divided up into little pieces so that they can maximize doctor's appointments and paying for every other person's time rather than maximizing figuring out what's wrong with us so that we can heal, feel better, and get on with our lives. And it's frustrating. I truly feel and understand you, sis. Okay. Chinese medicine may be able to help if you have the time to go there. I'm no longer suffering with this. So, I mean, like this is the great news, but I feel like the cool thing is that once you understand what's causing your health issues, so the food you eat, the underlying, you know, when I actually found the keto diet and started to really look at just basics, the food I eat is determining how my body is built. That basic piece of information, the food I eat determines how my body is built. Is my body built in a healthy way? In a way that is actually allowing it to like be the like repair everything that needs repairing and rebuild things on a frequency that's fast enough. And I feel like this is where we do not understand how important it is to have periods of time when we're not eating. The current food system that we are on pushes us to be eating so much more often than we should be, right? Every few hours we're eating. And what Dr. Fung helped me to understand, and when I saw that video, it just like hit me like a ton of bricks. And it makes so much sense. The like when we eat food, we are processing that food. That takes a lot of energy. So the system diverts energy towards processing food. And then that means it diverted it from what? All the other processes the body does to keep us healthy. The food can't just sit in our gut and not be processed. But repairing the body is also energy intensive. So you have these two super energy intensive things that your body's trying to do at the same time. And it can't. It can only do one of them in full and the other one gets backseat, right? And processing food takes precedence. If food just sits in your gut, it like bad things happen. And we see that with this. Well, now we get the opportunity to see that with the Ozempic and all the people that apparently how Ozempic works is it slows down the progression of food through the system, among other things, I'm sure. And that slowdown caused people to be so sick and nauseous and problems. You can't just, your body is smarter than us. We are here because our body is this smart. And we need to acknowledge that and understand that and stop trying to act like we're smarter than our body. The speed at which food moves through us is on purpose, for a purpose. It's supposed to happen that way. So I know I'm being very annoyed right now, but like it does frustrate me that we are in situations where we force our body to do things that make us sick. So going back to the eating several times a day, because they tell us, oh, eat small meals several times a day. You're going to minimize your calories per session, and you're going to you're not going to be hungry. You're not going to be, right? Because you're eating more times a day. It's going to be more satisfying. And it also raises insulin. Every one of those meals, because they're not real meals, they're a lot of snacking and vegetation when our body is looking for meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and salt when it sends us out for food. That's what food is to our body. Everything else we eat, we're eating for fun. I can't say that enough times. Meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and salt is what is food. So when we bring in a bunch of vegetation, so fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, like grains, when we bring that stuff in, our body, yes, it has to process it. And as soon as it's done processing it, it asks us for more food. We are constantly hungry. We are constantly grazing. We are constantly raising our insulin. And we create inflammation problems. And we don't know. And we're suffering. And it's really hard for me right now because I don't know where on the spectrum all of you watching right now are. Some of you are probably already carnivore, but some of you might still be on the standard diet. the more vegetation in your diet, the more you're dealing with these kind of things, right? Your body's asking you for food and it's getting plant matter. Because even these things, it's plant matter, right? That's what these things are made of. These are diet ones. These are supposed to help you lose weight, right? Right? Even these ones are supposed to be keto friendly. All of them are made of plant matter, and or have plant matter in them, whether they're made fully from plant matter or not, right? This is not just the cookies. It's not just it's all the plant matter. It's the fruits, it's the vegetables, it's the nuts. All of that stuff is contributing to our insulin resistance. Frustrated me when I first learned that. And actually, I was actually angry when I first learned that. It wasn't just frustrating. I was angry. And it took a long time for me to even talk about this subject this way that I'm talking about it right now and not be fully enraged. But it's only because I've been eating properly now for 8 years and I feel amazing. And I can do huge, like last night, I went and I did a workout with my daughter, and I don't need to take 2 days to recover. Like I used to take her for a bike ride when she was a kid. So back when I was in my 40s, take her for a bike ride when she was a little kid and have to recover for 2 days because my knees hurt so bad. Take her to the trampoline place and have to recover for 2 days because my whole body ached. Like every activity that we did disrupted our ability to have fun the next day. Even as something as simple as getting on the floor to play with her and getting back up because my joints hurt so bad was a struggle. So yeah, like it is important for us to understand that the food we eat actually matters. Last thing, I ran off a list of Dr. Berry blood tests I was requesting and fasted for. Why? You're not having a problem. How do you know if you don't test for it? Nope, too expensive. You know what? This is one of the frustrations that I actually have, because if you're not willing to pay for your test yourself, yeah, you're stuck with whatever they're willing to pay for. And not all of us can afford to pay for our test ourselves. I know that there's some doctors online that are trying to make it like more affordable. We'll wait and see how long it takes before that becomes the norm where we can kind of online testing. But I feel like there's a double-edged sword, right? You do online testing, but then your doctor still needs to read it and understand it. And they're not testing for it because they don't see the reason to test for it, because they don't understand that we are a complete system. And that whatever is causing this problem that I'm sitting in front of you for is causing other problems. And to go back to what Dr. Eid said in the interview that I did with her, that I keep coming back to this because it's so important. Every medication that we use, whether we put it on our skin or we put it in our mouth, every single medication that we use is impacting the totality of us. Because yes, stuff enters through our skin. That's why we can put the medication on our skin. And it's getting into all of us, not just this little section of me right here. You take a pill, it's not magically going to just one part of us. The same way that it isn't innocuous eating these kind of silliness. It's not doing nothing when we eat these silly things. When we think that this is a good supper, it's not doing nothing. The same way that has a huge impact on the quality of the body we are creating, these medications have an impact on the quality of the body we are creating, because they change stuff. It just is. So the doctor telling you that you don't have something, there's no reason to do a test, that's backwards. Like, yes, we should test just to make sure everything is okay then. Then basically my test should come, but they're not going to do that because then you would know what you should be fixing. Well, but then of course, they would need to know what they're looking for to be able to tell you what you should be fixing. So again, do you see how we end up going around and around in circles? Because like knowing something and being mandated and allowed to talk to you about it, which is one problem that I feel like they have. But then the other part is that, okay, even if I'm a specialist and I can talk to you about it, I can, if I do know that that little thing over there is also related, I can't say anything because that's not my specialty. So I can, will we ever get a full picture? I don't know, but we should. We should have a full picture. All of our doctors, all our professionals should be talking to each other, which is why second opinions are so popular. Not they're in my opinion, second opinions should be mandatory, but at the same time, getting a second opinion doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the information you're looking for. Because why? Because maybe that doctor that you're going to go talk to isn't going to be able to tell you because that's outside of his specialty. So you're going to get the second opinion about this, but are we ever going to reach to that base, real reason, that root problem that's causing everything to go awry in your life? Yeah, Chinese medicine places on your foot. You have connection to other parts of the body, such as your head, eyes, heart, kidneys. Yeah, make the approach more of a holistic approach. Yeah, I totally hear you that Chinese medicine will make something like a holistic, and I definitely see how they at least are looking at the entire person and not just looking at like one small minute part of the person. So if whatever you're trying to solve absolutely needs no Northern America, like no traditional, what do we call this? Medical system assistance, I guess is what I would call it. If you don't need any medical system assistance, I would honestly say if that's where you are still, where something is bothering you, but it's not like it's not taking you away from work, it's not, it's not something that stops you from living your life. If it's a frustration or annoyance, I would be looking at how I'm building my body. That's what I'd be looking at. Am I doing the things that make sure that my body is created the way that it's supposed to be created, and that, so the food I eat, number one, as long as we eat things that are not actually food, any of this processed stuff that I've been showing you, as long as we're eating stuff that's not food, we're going to be in trouble because our body, not only are you getting too much carbohydrate in this kind of stuff, but there's seed oils in it. Yep, vegetable oils. There's things that, so maltodextrin, papain, they write natural flavor because they can hide all kinds of things under natural flavor. All kinds of extracts, which means they're condensing down the toxic parts of plants and putting it in our food. So like what we don't really understand, as a matter of fact, the first ingredient, wheat flour. So flour is a grain, and grains are the child of the plant, which means it has lots of toxins in it. And then the second ingredient is shortening, right? So vegetable oil. This is not healthy, right? But we eat that. As a matter of fact, I can confess, and I feel horrible about it, but when my daughter was young and was fuss and didn't want to eat her food, I sometimes let her eat that because I thought, oh, it's cheese and crackers. It's not even real cheese. It's not even real cheese. Like, it blows my mind that it didn't occur to me that real cheese cannot sit in a package for more than a day out of a fridge. Like, obviously it's not real cheese. But because I'm pretty sure this one says, oh no, it says cheese flavored. Okay. No, it does say filling made with real cheese. So I thought I had seen that on this before, which is why I was letting her eat it. Made with real cheese, right? So it doesn't make sense. Made with real cheese just means there has to be a small amount of real cheese in it. What percentage of that could they put in there that allows it to not spoil? Maybe it's the fumes from the factory next door of the cheese being made in another factory. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Hey, Pat. Nice to see that you're able to jump in for a bit. Well, if humans aren't eating every 20 minutes, how will we make commercial systems cash? To make people sick, to make big pharma money by design. Of course. This is the part that's so wellness warrior, understand what's happening. They are willing to trade our feeling healthy, our being healthy, our ability to live our lives, do activity. So it's like this really weird thing where, because we keep having children, and so there will always be a new supply of people to eat the junk and to do the activities, because they don't just want us to like eat junk food and not do other activities. So there's other industries that need to make money, right? But we have always a new influx of people. And by the way, we all get sick at different rates, right? Like although it's crazy to me how many young people I see sick today. Like, I was 23 when it started for me. I know people like my good friend's daughter was in the hospital. She was in her teens. Now today I know that that was food related, but okay, what I didn't at the time. There's so many people who they get sick at different rates, right? How much weight you put on can delay when the actual, like the illnesses that take you away from doing stuff come in, right? And it doesn't mean that because I gain weight and I don't have the illnesses that take me away from doing activities, that means that I'm not struggling to do the activities. Because when I was overweight, well, I had the joint pain anyways, but when I was overweight, because that's the other part of it that's so frustrating, is that even though you gain weight, at some point your body gets to its limit of ability to gain weight, and you get the other issues anyway. It's so frustrating. But for us who were able to gain weight, which I was one of the ones who was able to gain some weight, I gained it later, so maybe that's why my knees were hurting me initially. I gained weight. And so taking my daughter, for example, tree to tree climbing, so much harder for me than when I was at my normal weight, because I went when I was obese, and then I went back when I was normal, healthy weight, and everything was easier. Everything was easier. Like, I did all the ones up to hard, whereas I wasn't able to do them before. Now, of course, she was little, but when she turned into a teenager and I was still obese at the time, I let her go and do the hard ones because she could. I mean, she'd been tree climbing since she was 5, I think. So of course, of course, go do it. But I couldn't go because I couldn't get up there. I couldn't do it. So do you understand, Wellness Warrior, how like maddening it is that they want us to give away our lives, that we're not living the fun stuff we could be living because of food? And then and again, don't forget, there's going to be someone else to replace me. When I'm no longer walking around here, there will be somebody else who'll take my place and eat the junk. Like, I stopped eating all this garbage and somebody else is buying it. You'll notice that I stopped eating it. The companies did not go out of business. They are still going. Someone else will buy it. Right? I was never a smoker, but yet tobacco is still going. Like, somebody else buys it. Like, we need to understand that they don't care who buys it. They're not caring about you and me. Pharma is not caring about you and me, right? They create a product that helps a symptom. They're not trying to cure you, because if they cure you, you're no longer a customer. So, yeah, like, I mean, and we see this everywhere. It's not just medical. That's why, like, now you have all these services baked into our cars, right? You have to pay a subscription to have lane keep assist. Like, it used to be a car, you bought it, whatever it could do, it could do. Now there's this is not going anywhere. We need to understand it. We need to take a decision to unplug ourselves from these systems that create dependence on them. And If we don't unplug ourselves, we're going to be in trouble because they're just going to keep finding new routes to keep us dependent, right? Like that's what this is all about. Like, it's not good enough that there's one kind of chocolate chip cookie. There has to be rainbow chocolate chip cookies. There has to be chocolate chip cookies sandwiches so that there's cream in the middle. There has to be chocolate chip cookie with ice cream in the middle. There, like, they have to find a way to make sure that you don't just want to buy chocolate chip cookies. Oh, if I buy chocolate chip cookies, but I also like the ice cream chocolate chip, so I have to buy both kinds of those. It's not good enough that they have one flavor of soda. No, they have to have the flavor of soda with cherry in it, the flavor of soda with lime in it, and the pickle in it. I've seen one with pickle in it. Like, what? What? How does that? They will put whatever flavor in it that they can think to put in it to get you to buy it, even if that doesn't make any sense. Right? Why do we need pizza flavored chips? Eat pizza. Oh, but no. But what if you want chips? Eat chips. No, we need to have pizza flavored chips. Wellness Warrior, if we don't let ourselves see that this is all about taking our money and not caring what happens to us, we will stay in this system. We will keep getting hurt, and our lives will continue to feel horrible because, as I've said a few times now, they don't care. Absolutely not. They don't care. Yep, I think every time I put in my eye drops for my glaucoma, where else is it going and what is it breaking? I know, absolutely. It's scary. It is scary that if they were actually trying to help us, the first thing they would have told us to do would have been change your food, change your diet, eat better. But they don't. They're focused on, oh, these drops will help you, not solve. They will help you. You are very welcome, Russell. So happy to have you here. Sing It says again, my primary care doctor I saw last week had a student in there. Pretty sure I embarrassed the doc. Pretty much taught the student about ketosis, inflammation, and how food, not medicine, fixes us. Whoa, that's pretty bold. I'm like, but can I just love that? Yes, like, let that student understand there's another way to do this. And hopefully that student will maybe look it up. And once they get, like, applied to themselves, they'll understand how amazing it is, right? But if you don't say these things, if doctors are not made aware that there's other ways to do things, they're going to keep in their bubble and only understand what they've been taught. And even what they were taught, like, there's that whole thing about doctors, like, that within, what is it, within like 50% of what they know will be out of, will be irrelevant or obsolete by the time they graduate. And that still holds true even till today. So yeah, like, they need to be exposed to more information. Okay, last comment. Don't worry about it. I love when you're talking to me because it just gives me more to share. Really, so much crap offered to me today. Leftover Easter cabbage brought in from everyone. Oh, I think you meant to put garbage there. Brownies, pizza, coffee cake. No, thank you. So glad I'm back in Ketoville. You know what? It was interesting to me because, like, obviously the I'm no longer my kids are grown, right? They're three of them are 21. So we didn't, like, Pat and I, we didn't buy any Easter chocolates or anything. It doesn't make sense, right? We wish them all happy Easter, and that was the end of the day. But And I was even impressed and happy to see that my parents didn't buy any Easter chocolate or whatever this year, which they were still doing a few years ago. And I feel like they finally like realized like no need to do that, not good for the kids, not good for, so that was great. And I was impressed by that. But there's still other people in the family zone that still do that. Other sides of families and stuff. So are we ever going to get completely away from it? But I mean, I hope my family will. I hope that they will just keep listening and understanding more and more. But I'm telling you, it was the best Easter at my parents' place that I think I've ever had. There was turkey on the menu for supper, although my mom did make a pork roast because she knew I was coming. And I did have a little piece of turkey just to, try it again. And like, I'm still not repulsed by it. So that's fun. But yeah, like, I feel like when everyone had a good time, everyone enjoyed their meal, and there wasn't any excessive like junk there, or actually there wasn't any junk there on Easter Day. So on the Sunday, because we're Monday now, right? Yeah. So on Easter there wasn't any junk, and it was fine. As a matter of fact, Good Friday there wasn't any junk, and it was fine. Right? I think it's about realizing that we can actually eat real food and hang out together and have a great time. So I'm ecstatic, ecstatic. Yes, I did get that it was supposed to be garbage. Perfect. Well, Wellness Warriors, I'm really happy that you guys came and hung out with me today. I don't know if there's any more questions. I'll give you a second in case someone throws another question in. But this was amazing. I'm always happy to share information with you. I want to let you know that I have a newsletter now. If you want to go down to the description, it's down there too. And the newsletter, it just gives you like a quick something to work on to help you to stay on track, to help you to like just do what you're trying to do. I try to pick one thing and give it to you that will move you forward. And of course, it has other little tidbits and things I want to share. And it's like a 2-minute read. If you missed any videos, that's the best place that it's going to be listed for the last month, what videos were up. And I usually put it live on the 20th. So, or I send it out, I should say, because it's a newsletter. So I send it out on the 20th. If you'd like to get access to my newsletter, which is completely free, link in the description. And Sing It says, you mentioned once my hubby probably won't come to Ketoville because I am not showing him that it works and sustainable. Interesting. I'm glad to have another chance to show him for the rest of my life. Yeah, you know what? I think that we have always the opportunity to lead by example. I try my best to lead by example because if I'm on and off, on and off, on and off, I can't expect people to take me seriously about what I'm doing, right? I'm pretty sure that's probably the way that I framed it. And so, yeah, if you want someone to believe that what you're doing is better, but you are not sticking with it, then is it really better? And you know what? I'm going to take this a step further because this comes down to another really huge idea, which is this idea that I can only do what's good for me if everybody's doing what I'm doing. So if I actually know that something is better, for example, I'll use the very simple, basic telling the truth. Like, we will all say that we believe that being honest is the right thing to do, but then in a scenario where, oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings, or, like I don't want to get in trouble, or what, we would lie. And so then can I actually say that I believe that telling the truth is the best thing to do? And at that point, no, I wouldn't be able to do that. And I can hold my hand up and say that at work, when I worked in the company, even in scenarios where I thought, oof, this could get me fired, I still told the truth. Why? Because it was true. That's it. There's no other reason than that. It was true, so I told the truth. Right? Did I get fired? No, I didn't, because it was the truth. Like, we make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. And I think if I'm being fully honest, I think that if I had lied and then they found out that I was lying, I probably would have had more risk of getting fired than just saying, "Hey, yeah, I screwed up. I got that wrong." And they explained to me what was right. They explained to me how to do that better. And there were even times where I was just being stubborn as hell, like not making it to court on time, like refusing to wake up so early that I would have to wake up my daughter so early to take her to daycare to get to court. And I would just arrive late, and the lawyers were mad, and I did that for years, and I never got fired. Because why? Because I put it to them very bluntly. My daughter's well-being matters more than me getting to this building by 9 o'clock to sit and wait for judges for an hour. I'm not going to do it. But that was a risk I was taking. I could have been fired because that's part of the job. You got to get there by 9 o'clock. Yeah, never happened. And so I feel like being honest, doing what you know is right, and in that case, and I didn't lie about it. I didn't say, "Oh, I traffic or whatever." I was like, I have a daughter that needs to get to daycare, and it's not always easy getting up in the morning. So, I get here as early as I possibly can. I never lied to any person about that fact. I really feel that when we know something is good, so my daughter's sleep is good for her, my daughter having the morning with mom and not being rushed and having mom yelling and scream, all of that was important to her and therefore important to me, and I fought for it. And the same thing goes with my diet. Pat didn't agree initially. He thought that I was making a huge mistake. He thought that I was going to gain weight. He thought that I was risking my health. He thought that it was crazy because he, like myself, believed all the diet world lies that had preceded everything that we understand now about food. He thought I was risking everything, as I honestly thought so too. Like when I started my keto diet, I didn't know it was going to do what it did. I just thought it was going to heal my inflammation. That was the only thing that I had my eyes on. This thing is telling me it's going to stop my inflammation. I'm doing it because that was how bad the pain is. And I feel like that's part of what a lot of people who don't live pain just don't get. Why is it that the people who lived pain end up sticking with their diet? It's because this isn't about a look. This isn't even about, this is about torture. That's what it's about. It's about torture. Walking around in a body that doesn't function the way that you know it used to is torturous. And so for me, and I'm sure for a lot of other people, the option of, okay, I'm going to do, I'm going to do a few months or whatever it is. I'm going to lose a few months of, you know what, honestly, at the time, I wasn't even thinking that far ahead. All I was thinking about is this can't continue. And what I was being told is your surgery, you're not bad enough yet. And so the mind craziness that was happening for me in that moment. I'm not bad enough yet to get surgery, but I can't walk. How does that make sense? And I understand why people end up depressed when they have pain issues. I understand why they end up just wanting to no longer do this I understand. I lived it. So I do think that people who do have pain issues, that's why they stick with it. First of all, keto, carnivore, that's why they stick. And I will tell you, I'm often saying how happy I am. I am actually happy. When I tell you that I'm happy, well, I'm sorry, I'm not making it, it's not a game. I'm not pretending. This isn't a joke. I am actually happy that my health issues were the way that they were, that they forced me. They forced me. Yeah, that they actually forced me to do something about it, because I could have waited like everybody else does, in pain, crying, but that's not me. Well, so I'm deadly afraid of surgery, first of all, so I'll put my hand up for that one. The idea of surgery, didn't like that idea, but at the same time, I don't like pain. Like, there are a lot of things that I just won't do because it hurts, right? Like, the idea of getting a tattoo, oh my goodness, like, to me, this is craziness. Why would I ever do that now that I know that the ink is probably poisonous? Even more reason. But why would I do that? I only have the one holes in my ears, right? I don't have more. Why would I put more? That hurts, right? I did my daughter's first holes when she was a baby, just so that she wouldn't remember it the same way that my mom did for me. I see people going to get more holes and, ow, it hurts, and then they have to, all the what. I don't do things that hurt on purpose. Okay? So, like, to me, it's so important to do what I know is good, what I know is right, that I guess that's a benefit of my parents and my grandmother teaching me these things from such a young age. You do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And theoretically, if you do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, you will benefit, right? And I do feel like I'm benefiting because I get the opportunity right now. One of the things that I want is to help people. I want to help people do better. And I'm doing that, right? And the fact that I think it says 16 people here listening. This is 16 people. So you guys, you are 16 people right now that maybe eat on plan today, whatever that on plan looks like for you. Or if you're doing a standard diet, at least do your research about keto and what it could actually help you change in your life. Because that's another thing that people don't understand, is that these conditions that I'm talking about that crept up on me. So some of them, like I said, I was 10 years old laying in that bed. Like, everyone else is sleeping in the house. I'm awake. That's years, right? So there's a lot of things that just slowly over time, we don't even realize that things are being added to, and things are being added to, and things are being added to. But they're impacting our quality of life. Like, I think I'm kind of smart, but can you imagine if I was getting good quality sleep, what I might have been able to do? What I might have been able to learn? Like, these things run through my head. And it's not that I'm unhappy with my life, but I love learning. So I just wonder, like, what else might I have been able to pick up, to add to, right? Like, that could have been something very, very interesting. So, like I said, like, in my mind, like, there isn't any negative to seeing the reality of something and then committing to try to achieve it every single day if you know it's better for you. And this is not about perfection. It's about, what am I trying to achieve? Because I'll tell you for real, and this is just real no matter what we say, if what I'm trying to achieve is almost the thing, I will always achieve almost the thing. But if what I'm trying to achieve is the thing, now I have an opportunity to actually achieve it. I am carnivore today, not because I always envisioned myself being carnivore. Actually, I had no belief that I would ever make it all the way to carnivore. I'm carnivore today because, number one, I committed to eating a keto lifestyle, which then meant, number two, I learned what it meant to eat a keto lifestyle. If you are eating food but are not in ketosis, you're not eating a keto lifestyle. Point final, period, end of story. So anytime I let myself get kicked out of ketosis, I'm not living in keto. So then all of a sudden, because I let myself understand that, my definition of what it means to be in a ketogenic state was shifting, and my understanding of it was shifting. And so the other piece of the puzzle is that it helped me to understand and to change my goal. Because is my goal to be in a ketogenic state, or is my goal to be the healthiest version of me that I possibly can? And that came through watching lots of videos from doctors pushing that idea. And it also came from me understanding and looking at my history. What happened there? My body got healthier and it regulated its weight, which is why I keep saying to you guys all the time, a healthy body regulates its weight, because that's what happened. My body got healthier and it regulated my weight right away. My body got healthier and it started to it started to incorporate the extra body tissue that was hanging off me. I did not have any kind of surgery or anything. My body got healthier and it asked me for more, which is the other piece of the puzzle. That my 20 grams of carbs or less that was getting me into ketosis became 18 grams of carbs less. And it made me understand, wow, as I get healthier, my body asks me for more. So this idea that they give you that, oh, like once you're healthy, you can add back stuff. No, that's not what your body wants. You imagine you clean your house and they say, well, now your house is clean. Here's a bucket of dirt. Throw it in your... No, nobody would do that. You cleaned your house. You want it to stay clean. Why would I clean up my body and then bring back in toxins when I know that they're toxins? It's just a way to keep us stuck to their system, right? Because they know that once we bring back in those toxins, our brain is going to be chasing again and we're going to be in trouble. So coming back around to your comment, yeah. When we do better, the goal is to keep it. And so if I want my friend, if I want my family member, if I want a wellness warrior to understand what I'm talking about, I need to be living it so I can show them like this is real. Like every time I fell down by eating too much nuts, I told you guys. Right? I didn't pretend that it was okay, which is another thing. I'm going to these doctors right now today that are saying because they've fallen off and they're back to eating honey and fruit and all this stuff and they're back in their chasing are saying, but it's okay. It's what we really should. No. Call a spade a spade. When I fell down, I told you guys I fell down. I'm chasing again. I'm struggling again. I might not have told you while it was happening, but as soon as I solved it, I told you, hey, that happened to me. I just got through it. Why? Because I want you to understand that you might stumble. And if you stumble, it's not about giving up. It's about seeing the stumble. It's about recognizing, oh, okay, even a few nuts at a party, problematic, right? I'm not going to do it. I mean, I was at my mom's place yesterday, so Easter, there were nuts, right? She always has nuts around. I had none. Why? Because I know they're going to pull me back in. And besides, nuts is the seed of the plant, like the toxins. And okay, I feel like you're getting my point. It's so important for us to prioritize our health. Prioritize your health over the taste of food. Prioritize your health over the social look. Prioritize your health over everything else because your health matters the most. Prioritize health over taste has been something I've been saying on this channel for years. There's a t-shirt, if you want to go and check it out, that says prioritize health over taste. That's why it's there. Because I want you guys to understand that your healthy body matters more than the fun taste of something for 30 seconds. Because that's how long we get to enjoy it. 30 seconds, and then we're back to frustration and struggling. It takes courage to tell the truth. Same with living in Ketoville, in the keto world. Yeah, it does take courage, to be honest, and it takes courage to put No, it takes courage to be honest because, especially in situations where your honesty could get you into a problem. It doesn't take courage to be honest if the repercussions they're minor, right? Like when I tell people I don't eat these things, for example, I don't eat snacks, or I don't drink soda, or like there's no repercussion for me for saying that. If they want to look at me differently because I don't eat the junk food that they eat, I'm okay with that. I don't see that as a repercussion. Look at me differently, right? And honestly, if you and I would stop being friends because I don't eat junk food, you were never my friend. I haven't lost one friend because I don't eat like them anymore. I haven't lost one. I might opt out of dinner events, especially if the dinner event like even like is expensive, and I might opt out if I don't think I can finagle the restaurant to make it how I want. I'm going to opt out because, well, I'm not going to pay for food that I'm not going to eat. But other than that, like my life has continued the way that it always was. I've always had an issue with meat, red meat, so that's not different. They all met me with that scenario, and it's always been that scenario. So there's nothing changed there. And if you're like, again, if being honest about how you eat disrupts a friendship or creates a chaos, you have to really question, do these people care about me, or are they just caring about the scenario they're trying to create, the story, the narrative they're trying to create? These are important things for us to know, Wellness Warrior. These are important things for us to pay attention to and decide what we want to do about it. So, yeah, but I'm not worried about being honest. Let's see. Glad there was a third door for us. Suffer and wait, surgery. So suffer and wait, surgery, or keto carnivore. And yes, like that apparently is the door. And it's a door that, like, now that we know it's there, and now that we know that it's sustainable. So, I mean, I'm 2 years carnivore. Well, I guess 2+ years carnivore, and 8+ years keto, right? Does that make sense? Like, so the totality of the time that I've been doing this is 8+years, because we're in April now. April. Oh, we're almost 8 years, because April 20th it will be 8 years. And I mean, I'm looking forward to my 20-year anniversary because that's theoretically how long it takes to rebuild a body. So I'm totally interested to see, like, does anything else change, first of all, in my progression, especially now that I've added some level of exercise. I still will say that I'm not working out like a crazy person, but my workout that I did with my daughter last night was much more intense than I think any other workout that I've ever done on my own. And even any workout I've done with her before. Like, I only go to the gym for back because I don't have enough, I don't think, to do back here. And like just the different kind of exercises, like, and do it with weight safely, right? So like, so I'm going there to use their machines to do back, just because already all the joints in my back, with all the inflammation history I have, I just want to make sure I do my back as carefully as possible. Obviously, some other exercises I do at home do touch back, but when I'm really gonna focus on back, I want to use the machines. And that was the most, like, I was out of breath when we left, which was the first time ever. And yet I'm sitting here this morning and I feel fine. Like, to know that my body has healed this much because of food and exercise. Now I'm adding, but I mean, this is only since January that I'm exercising, like actually using the weights in my house, since January. So I'm encouraging every one of you. You need to look larger than what medical is offering you. But I feel like it's not even look larger. It's back to basics. That's what I want to say. We need to get back to basics, because the number one thing that determines whether we're building a healthy body or a sick body is what we eat. Whatever we put in here determines the building blocks our body has to create this vessel. So whatever we eat, I'm encouraging every single person, pay attention to whatever you eat, because I know for sure, again, you have all the influencers who are still in their carb problems that are going to tell you, oh, well, like some cucumber once in a while is not a big deal. There's seeds in those cucumbers. Seeds are the plant's child, right? The skin on the cucumber, the oxalates and whatever toxins in the skin on the cucumber, not to mention the stuff that we spray on these vegetables on the skin of the cucumber. So like even something that has almost no carbohydrate in it, that's like so minuscule, so nothing that we wouldn't even think twice about it on our keto lifestyle, is still doing stuff in our body. And so again, if you've cleaned up your house, even if it's a teaspoon of dirt that you throw, you're going to see the damn teaspoon. You're going to see it on the floor. It's going to bother you. You're going to be annoyed. Don't let them trick you that it's nothing. It's something. And where it ends up in your body, what it's doing in your body, you're not going to know until your body reacts. Very scary. Okay, done. I'm more than happy to talk to you, Sing It, because I feel like you bring some good information for me to address. So thank you very much. Let's see. I love your tank. Thank you. Actually, I'll just yeah, this is my newest t-shirt. I actually have another one coming. I'm late in giving it to you guys. I'm sorry. I apologize. I found another cute thing that I thought I could put in a t-shirt. It's coming soon. There's links somewhere with what you guys are watching. You should be able to see them to take advantage and check it out. If you want to get a t-shirt, it supports the channel. It helps me to carve out time to make more videos. Just on that topic, so there's the t-shirts. There's also just a donation button. So it's a contribution button that's down in the description below if you want to contribute to me making videos. Obviously, you can do it in the live stream as well. And what else do I have? Yeah, in order to support the channel, those are the two main things. If you want to work with me, then there's also a coaching link down there. We can look at your consistency, right? Staying on target with the diet that you're doing. Again, I'm not married to everybody being carnivore. What I want is everybody off standard American diet, standard Canadian diet, standard Chinese diet, whatever. That standard diet that's got all this processed stuff in it and seed oils. I want everybody off that. So when we get away from the seed oils and the processed foods, and you're more in, honestly, even paleo, I'm much more happy of people being on paleo than being on standard diet. My number one goal is to get everybody off standard diet. Once you get there and you're not eating processed foods anymore and seed oils, then it's about how far level up do you want to take your body, because the high carbohydrates will still get you eventually, right? Again, that's this thing that was happening to me, and slowly over time, I was having problems and frustration, and right. So yeah, there's that. Okay, I lied. You brought up something. Okay, you feel autophagy tightened your skin, or because you were active before keto? I feel autophagy tightened my skin. Yeah, again, your body is so smart. A lot of again, influencers that I'm not sure where they get this information from will try to tell you that you can't do keto or carnivore because your body, especially carnivore, because if you don't eat carbohydrates, your body will cannibalize your muscle. And Dr. Fung talks about the fact that our body's not going to cannibalize our muscle if there's other protein sources for it to use. And excess skin is one of the other protein sources our body has access to. Any broken protein, so any glycated proteins or whatever that's floating around in the blood system, like that it can get to and recuperate the proteins. So any neurotransmitters, like all the things that are in our body that are always there, some of them being created because we eat the wrong food, and then some of them the natural byproduct of eating the right food, because the same way that living in your house creates a little bit of mess, you know, like eating real food creates a little bit of mess. Like there's no way to eat real food and create zero mess. That doesn't happen. But the flip side of the coin is when you eat real food and create mess, your body cleans it up, and it cleans it up more easily because it's not as much mess, right? Again, it's the difference between coming in the house with a shovel full of dirt or coming into the house with groceries that you're going to have the bags and the packaging from the groceries. You put that in the garbage. Much easier to clean that up, right? Than if someone throws dirt across your carpet. Oh, now you got to vacuum the carpet, and then you got to shampoo the carpet, and right? So it becomes a bigger ordeal than just putting something in the garbage. There's more to your question? So then, it takes courage to move on without false friends. Yes. Many stay in toxic relationships because of the fear of the unknown, right? So you don't want to be alone. You don't want to be lonely. Loneliness is real. We all lived it during that time a few years ago, like that, just the be in your house. And even those of us who had family members in our house, so you weren't alone, we still struggled because, first of all, the age differences between the family members, right? So that is huge. But second of all, like we have friends because they bring something different to our life. They bring different conversations, they give us different outlets. So when you just lose a huge chunk of your a huge chunk of your friends, that is a big deal. So I'm not saying this lightly, but I also know that I've done this. So I've been brutally honest at work and with friends, and nothing happened. Like, well, first of all, we have to be careful because we're not in high school anymore. Like, the high school scenario, which is, it's just a weird scenario. But once you get out into the world with adults, yeah, most people have a more clear idea of how to treat people like people, right? And understanding that we're all different. So, I mean, I feel like the interesting thing is that on a vegetarian diet, because you can still eat this stuff, obviously they do better socially, but their body is suffering, right? So it's like you have to kind of, like, yes, they're going to, especially if they do a clean vegetarian diet, so they take out the seed oils and they take out the processed stuff. So if they do a they're going to have a boost of good health initially because they just removed all the processed stuff. But your body can only recycle so many proteins from inside before it needs you to bring in new animal sources for it to use, right? You can't recycle forever. And the example I always give is that it's not possible to just, like, I'm remodeling my house, so I use the bathroom from upstairs in the downstairs. But what do I do with the bathroom downstairs? Am I bringing it upstairs? Like I can't just keep flipping them back and forth. If they're old and broken, they're old and broken. You need to bring in. So I could theoretically, if the bathroom upstairs was newer, and I wanted to just remodel the bathroom upstairs, I could repurpose the stuff, since if it's still good, for the bathroom downstairs. But at some point, I still need to replace that stuff downstairs, right? And a lot of people do this with furniture. They buy furniture for their upstairs. And then after a few years, that nicer furniture gets put in their basement. They throw the basement furniture away and they buy new for upstairs. But they don't bring the furniture that was downstairs back upstairs. So, and that's the thing that we need to understand. When you do a vegetarian diet, yes, your body's going to do well for a while. You took all the garbage out. You took out, right? If you took all the garbage out, if you took all the garbage out and you're not eating a bunch of processed silliness, your body's going to do better. But eventually, it needs you to bring in new animal protein. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah. And you said so, because the fear of done now, as long as you don't bring up something else that's interesting. I can't promise that. Okay, so the next person. Hello, Dolores Bow. How are you doing? Afternoon. The topic made me stop scrolling. Who is your to go easy recipes YouTuber? I don't believe in keto recipes. And I've said this multiple times. That's another way to keep you stuck to a channel, right? Because it's still focusing on us entertaining our mouths with food. That's not what food is for. Food is for building the body and fueling the body. What I encourage everyone to do, and like I said, I have a free course. If you go check out my free course, you're going to find my best practices in that free course. What I encourage everyone to do is start your keto lifestyle. So if you're a standard diet and you come to keto, start there by just removing the high carbohydrate things and keep cooking it the same way that you've always been cooking it. Right? Like, so just take out the high carb stuff. You're still using the same spices. What you're doing is obviously, my first option, always take away the processed stuff right away. As much as you can. Get rid of the processed stuff out of your diet. That's the highest carb stuff. But then you're going to start focusing on your plate as well. Take the highest carb stuff off the plate first. See how you feel. See how things go. And then as you move forward, you can remove more and more until you get to your 20 grams. Of course, you're going to have to go through that withdrawal period, right? And there's no getting around it. But then, like, once you are in a scenario where you're eating less carbohydrate and everything is going well, then you can move to the next step if you feel so inclined, right? But again, all of this to say that if you let yourself do a keto diet based on replacement foods, then you're going to struggle because those replacement foods often are sweetened with stevia or monk fruit or erythritol or all the things. I know because I did that at the beginning. And of course, it brought me back to chasing. And of course, it brought me into trouble because, right? But like, we need to understand that our brain also plays a role in our ability to stay on track. And we have a cephalic response to sweet taste. So even though erythritol, monk fruit, and stevia and all these things supposedly don't have any impact on our insulin or glycemic index, all that stuff, doesn't mean that when our brain detects the sweet taste, it's not going to do what it normally does, which is tell our body carbohydrates are coming in because it tasted like carbohydrates to our brain, which then means that some energy gets stored so that we have space for the incoming energy that it thought was coming. That didn't come, right? So this is important for us to understand. So you said, I want to learn kitchen, only spinach pasta in general. I can only make it, and I want a 1, 2, 3 easy YouTuber. If what you want is easy recipes, the easiest recipe that you can do is whatever. So where are you in this process? If you don't mind giving me that information, Dolores. But if you are coming from standard diet to keto, let's say, do you cook any meals right now? Like I said, the easiest thing that you do is remove the high carb parts off your plate and eat whatever is left, the low carb parts. If everything you're eating right now is frozen foods, like if that's what you're doing, you're just grabbing frozen stuff and nothing else. Okay, now I understand why you're asking that question. And the thing that you would then do would be to, if it was me, I would choose a few vegetables that I feel like I could manage, like low carbohydrate vegetables. So you have broccoli or like, I would just choose a few low carb vegetables. Go to the Google low carb vegetables. Pick the ones in the list that you have eaten before, and then you were like, okay, I didn't mind those. Cook them in salt. That's all you need, salt and water and the vegetables, or frying pan with lard, tallow, bacon grease, butter, and the vegetables. whatever fat you want to use, and the vegetables, fry them with salt. And then I would do the same thing with my meat. So again, if you were ordering everything like prepackaged food, maybe just buy meat. Like, don't buy it with the side dishes. So it's still going to have some spices on it, but that's okay for now. It's just getting yourself a starting point, a jump off point, somewhere to begin. And then you move from there. But I'm telling you, like, learning to make these keto replacement things and then having all these ingredients in your cupboard that you're once again in the processed food world, because in order to make these things, you need processed foods, right, to make them. And you're just going to be struggling and flipping over, right? I've not found one keto channel that does recipes that didn't have processed foods inside of their recipes, even if they're making a dish that you wouldn't think, eventually some kind of process, something. So it's probably better for you, if you don't know how to cook, to just keep everything simple. And I will encourage you to do what I tell all of the people that I talk to do. Prioritize health over taste. And then you can turn around and have your fun with people and activities and hobbies, right? People, activities, and hobbies. That's where your attention should go when you want to have fun. It should not be on eating for fun. That is a setup for us to be constantly buying processed stuff that harms our health. And it's not a good thing. Hello, Stephanie. Nice that you were able to make it and say hello. Good morning to all. I'll catch this entirety on the upload. No problem, Stephanie. Glad to see that you were able to jump in. So it looks like we're finally at the end of our questions and comments and etc. I hope that this was helpful. I do know there's a little bit of a delay on the on one of my videos right now. So I'm gonna just say that I love talking to you guys, and as long as something doesn't pop up before I finish saying this, I'm gonna jump out. I love talking to you guys. Next Monday, 11:20, there's going to be another video. Look forward to another live stream. Look forward to Thursday's video that's coming. It's a good one. And I will see you in the next live stream. Have a great rest of your... Oh, we did get one. So someone got it in just in time under the Dolores, about years ago, when I had to do the GAPS diet to fix my gut health. Pinterest was most helpful for finding and organizing recipes and meal planning ideas. And so what I will point out to you, Dolores, and I feel like this is like sometimes the piece of the puzzle that gets lost, is that if the GAPS diet actually did solve your health, your gut health and your health issues, then you wouldn't be looking for another diet. So whatever's currently going on, whether it's weight or some other health issue, what we need to understand is that we aren't solved, like, so the diet didn't solve if we still have problems, if other problems show themselves. It might have like made one symptom less apparent, but then another symptom shows up, because again, our body is a system, and that system is going to push and push and push to try to get us to solve the problem, first of all, because that's what your body wants. Your body doesn't just want you to relieve the pain. Your body wants you to solve the problem, right? The system is built to survive. It's built to thrive. It's built to like be strong and do stuff, right? Like look at your kids when they're young and healthy. Like, they're climbing, they're running, they're jumping, they're learning, they're doing stuff. And that's the point, is our body is supposed to be doing stuff. So obviously, the major goal that you have is to figure out how to feed yourself the best. And I think I've given you something, but like I said, check out the free course. It's there. Feed yourself properly so that you can actually get your life back and go out there and do stuff. So thank you guys very much for joining me on this. I stopped drinking sodas. That's perfect. I started drinking poppy soda. But I realized they're the same Pasta is my go-to meal, and sometimes salmon, fish. I try to stay with Mediterranean. So pasta is a processed food, and it's either a grain of some, it's usually a grain of some kind. I think you can get rice pasta, but that's still a grain. So again, Dolores, I'm really gonna encourage you. Hi, bud. I'm really gonna encourage you to take the time to maybe go into Google or to an app and find out what what say what fruits, vegetables, like which ones are high carb, which ones are low carb. Like you need to actually do the math and understand like what you can have and what you can't have if you want to solve this for yourself. Right? My cat's in front of me and he's distracting me. If you want to solve this for yourself, that's what you're going to have to do. Like there isn't one specific thing that I'm going to be able to tell you that's going to be like, oh, do this or do that. Because first of all, and I'll give you this to think about, when I started my keto lifestyle, I had no idea that I had an issue with nightshades. I had no idea. And so if I would have just listened to like come on, you're just in the way. Okay. If I would have just listened to the people on YouTube saying, "Oh, make this, make that," and whatever, I would have kept nightshades in my diet because I saw lots of recipes with eggplant. I saw a lot of recipes still had tomatoes in it. So like there were, I'm trying to think what other nightshades that I saw, but there were still paprika was a spice that was still being used. So I would have still have been taking in nightshades, which once I got my carbohydrates down enough, my body immediately started to show me that those nightshades were not helping me, right? They were not helping me. They were like causing problems and actually adding to my joint pain, which I was not aware of until I took my carbohydrates down so low that I was able to see that every time I had something that had a nightshade vegetable in it, my joint pain came back. So I'm encouraging you to take the time and walk this through and understand how your body reacts to the different things you eat. Because these are the kind of details that even when you're in your doctor's office, like Singit was saying it before, where she's like, oh, but I want to check for this or that or the other thing, that they're going to try to make you believe that, oh, but you're eating the normal stuff that everybody else eats, so there shouldn't be a problem. Yet my body had a problem with nightshades. Does it matter that nobody else had a problem with nightshades if my body had a problem with nightshades? Like, do you see the silliness in that? And I feel like that's what we need to be more conscious of. And that's, if we get that, we're gonna do better. Like it just is the truth. We're gonna do better. I hope that makes sense. Let's see. If you must eat pasta, so you said I do, get imported from Italy. It at least cleaner and healthier. I do understand what you're saying in terms of like, do they spray as many chemicals on it? Probably not. But we're still dealing with the fact that if it's a pasta made from grains, it's still the child of the plant. And so therefore you will still be dealing with that. So but I can't tell you guys what to do. Like you're going to do whatever you're going to do. That's just the way this goes, right? But it's just to know that piece of information. Oh, see, I kind of mixed up two people there, but okay. So it was 010101BE that was talking about the GAPS diet. Sorry, I got that confused. Okay, let's see. Dolores says, I was thinking using Yuka app to start my journey. And you're right. We must listen to our instincts on our body. That gives us, our body is giving us signals. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I said, play with things. Do what you're doing. But I want you to pay attention to the outcome you get, right? I want you to pay attention to how your body's reacting. And I will tell you that these channels that are encouraging you to make replacement stuff, slippery slope. I'm just going to keep saying it because it's the truth. Slippery slope. Once you get into that habit and you're making these things and you're back to entertaining yourself with food, it is so hard to get out of it and so easy to get back into, well, but this doesn't taste as good as that, and and all of a sudden, right? All of a sudden it's a problem. And I see here it says with keto, how low of carb can you do? I'm playing around 130. That's not keto. Well, okay, so like the official definition of keto is 50 grams of carbs or less. That's the official definition. Doctors say in order to get, for the average person that has metabolic issues, if you have metabolic issues, they say that you probably need to be 20 grams of carbs or less. Here's the thing. If you are not in a ketogenic state on 5 grams of carbs, then you're not doing keto. So it's about understanding how your body is feeling and knowing when you're in a ketogenic state. How can I tell? Well, I know that I have insulin resistance if I have weight loss. I have weight gain. So I have weight that's excessive on my body. That's an indication of insulin resistance. So a metabolic condition, right? So the question is, do I have any metabolic condition? Excess weight, yes, is a sign of metabolic condition. Joint pain and body pains and aches are a sign of metabolic conditions. And there's a long list. If you were to look up metabolic health and weight issues and metabolic, like all that, and like what is a metabolic condition, and see the list, if you have any of those, you have a metabolic condition, then you're very likely insulin resistant. That those two things track together. And so therefore, getting into a ketogenic state is the step one of what you're trying to do. And I know that this seems hard, right? Because like we're so used to being slightly overweight and it's not a problem. But even slightly overweight means that you have insulin resistance. Like we need to understand that these things track together. You're trying your best to get yourself back into a ketogenic state so that your body can get you back to healthy weight. Like that is the goal. So, the next thing that I'm going to say is that once you are in a ketogenic state, so let's say you get down to 20 and you're in a ketogenic state, it's paying attention. At any point, do my joint pains come back? Do I resume gaining weight? Like, so any of those signals that say I'm in an insulin resistant state, if they return, it means that you got kicked out. And it's important for us to understand that because our body is such a finely tuned system, a small increase of a gram of carbohydrate can kick us out of insulin of ketosis. Like this is what people have a hard time understanding. Like it doesn't take much. Like for me, it was 2 grams, 18. So I was doing good at 20 grams, and then my body improved. All of a sudden, 18 grams was too much for me. So we do need to understand that it's not just do the thing and, oh, I'm doing this forever. It's tracking. It's paying attention. It's letting your body tell you how good you're doing. That's important. So I can't give you a specific number. If you're at 130 and you're losing weight and you're sticking with it, I might stay there for a while. But if you're at 130 and you're not losing weight, I would go down. Because what it's telling me is that you're probably still eating enough carbohydrate for your body to just, manage and stay where it is. But I would also point out to you that you need to be eating enough protein and fat. Because if you're not eating enough protein and fat, your body's going to keep struggling. Right? Your body is not going to allow you to lose weight if you've taken your energy down so low that it has nothing to work with. And this is another one of the traps that we fall into. Because if I'm eating 130 grams, and it's not milligrams, it's grams. So if I'm eating 130 grams of carbs in my day, because if you're eating 130 milligrams, that's 1.3 grams, which then you're doing amazing. So I'm just double checking with you there. But if I'm eating 130 grams of carbohydrates in my day, I could still be bringing in enough carbohydrate to gain weight, because 130 grams, my body is absolutely going to put that in fat storage. So, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, this is not a calorie restriction model. It's a model that focuses its attention on you eating the healthy thing so your body can get back to doing the healthy thing. And that's all this is about. Again, this is why I really encourage people to join my coaching program, because we can talk this through on your specific situation, rather like right now I'm guessing at a bunch of stuff, right? And I can help you to figure out what you need to do to be mentally prepared to stay on track. So, and I do see here you said that you're weighing, what, 320 right now? So that tells me that you have weight to lose. And so I would definitely encourage you that, like, again, if you're losing weight right now, it's fine. And then, but you will eventually want to get down to 20 grams of carbs or less. And the sooner you do it, the better it will be for your process, because you're also taking out a lot more toxins. Dolores says, thank you for your insights. We'll do my self homework. In my experience, I gain weight just by doing wrongful things. Is like you're bewitching your own self. In my experience, got to speak life over yourself too. Got to speak life over yourself too. Okay, so what I will say is that we all make mistakes and do things because we think they're fine, or we live in this world that says nobody's perfect, just do it. And like, no, the truth is nobody is perfect. Like, I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. Like I told you, like I ate nuts and all kinds. But the thing is, are you letting yourself learn from your mistakes? The frustration for me is I'll see a lot of people who will do keto, get amazing results, and then allow themselves to touch something. It's pulling them back in. It's ruining things. And they don't stop. Back up. Look at what's happening, reassess, and do better. What I want you to do is use the data your body gives you. That's the only way our body has to talk to us, is by showing us stuff and giving us stuff, right? Like, it's going to give you some pain to say, hey, that's not great. Like, look what's happening here. Inflammation is back. Or it's going to give you some weight and say, hey, that's not great. Look what's happening. I'm putting some weight back on. Like, I need to read the data that's coming to me so that I can do better. So Mama M says grams. Okay, yes, thank you. And she says, when I go low carb, I crave, of course, because when you go low carb, your body is asking you for those carbs because of the withdrawal that you're going through, right? Like, you need to understand that your body is used to having hundreds of grams of carbs per day, but that's not good. Like, you do need to get through the withdrawal. Every person who does a keto diet and gets their carbohydrates down low enough that their body actually can switch back over. So it's switch back over. Specific words I'm using there. Your body used to use fat for fuel back when you were little, when you were born. It got pulled out of it with the foods we eat. So when it's trying to switch back over, yes, you're going to go through withdrawal. The same like if you stopped smoking or drinking, you go through withdrawal. It's the same scenario that your body has to go through. But at the end of the day, once you get through it, and this is why it's so important, don't touch it again. See, like, if you do all that work and get through the withdrawal and then you touch it again, then you're putting yourself in the position where you have to start over. This is the mistake that most people make. I made my coffee yesterday with pure cacao and beef gelatin, okay, and a spoon of butter. I've never had a more satisfying and energizing cup. Protein and energy I really needed. So the only thing that I would, it's pure cacao. You're talking about cacao butter. You're talking about the fat. I don't know if there's anything in there that, see, like, I'm not a fan of plant fats. I really do. First of all, I avoid them because I see the difference in my skin. Like, right now, my skin is amazing. And I'm so happy with my skin right now. But a lot of times, and I'll just like show you my hands, but I used to have like calluses and peeling skin and everything on my hands. And I don't have that anymore. because my cat is just driving me crazy right now. I don't have that anymore because I stopped using plant fats. And I realized that the plant fats were the problem because I took a break from plant fats. And then when I went back to them, I saw that my skin issues came back. So yeah, like I definitely feel that we need to just pay attention to how our body responds. So if you're doing that and you're not having any issues with your skin and everything is looking perfect, then great. 010101B. If that's your situation, that's perfect. But I would keep my eye on it. And it looks to me like that is our last comment. So I had a great time talking to you guys today. Monday, 11:20, next live stream. Thursday coming, there's going to be a produced video and it's great. You want to subscribe to the channel so that you get notifications when that video comes live. And I can't wait to talk to you guys about next week. If you have more questions, bring them to next week's video and I'll be more than happy to answer them. All right, bye guys. Today's video is brought to you by my keto consultations. You know how to do keto, but you're having trouble just sticking with it? Book a consultation with me and we're going to get you back on track. The link is in the description.